wanted to come here today because 5 of my players are here. 5 of my players that have been mistreated.
I play for a team that don't even want me, or anybody like me.
And I have not done enough to stop them. Now, at the beginning of this season, my team gave themselves to love.
I'm asking you to stand up right now and make a decision to change, to forgive, to choose Jesus.
What just happened? I went home and I prayed. I want whatever my players have. I believe. I believe and I want to be baptized.
Loved people and she was obedient. Luke 16:10 says that he who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much. And he who is unfaithful in little of the little things is unfaithful also in much. And you think about that. It's a little thing to say, yeah, come on over to our house. But God doesn't need big things from us. His economy is different from us. You know, he says, just obey me and love. Watch what I do with that. And we're at a place in our culture and in our country where God, he's always ready to do the extraordinary. He's looking for obedient people, you know, someone whose heart is fully his. You know, it says his eyes move to and fro throughout the land, looking for someone whose heart is completely his. And when we give our hearts to him and we say, you know what, I'm going to love. Jesus said, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you. And by this, the world will know that you are my disciples. Strangely, even though I grew up seeing that happen with Woodlawn, which it was, there's no question something amazing happened there. My mom, when I was about 13 years old, was diagnosed with cancer, and she, before the night's over, you'll probably talk to my mom because she talks to everybody. But I mean, and I'm here because I like to talk too. So it's, but she was probably the most spunky 70-year-old you'll meet, and she's always been that way. But when she was in her 30s, I guess, 34, she was dying. She was, I mean, she couldn't get out of bed hardly, and they discovered that it was cancer, and they actually did emergency surgery the next day, just about. I mean, it was very quickly after that. And when the surgeon opened her up, it was all gone, and she's never been sick since. That's, 35 years ago. So I saw the stuff with Woodlawn, and yet I still really struggled with my faith for a long period of time. Really wrestled with the intellectual parts of it, but one day I was really struggling. I dealt with depression. Anybody in a room with this many people, I'm not the only one who's dealt with depression. I was struggling with some depression, and doubt really creeps in when you're dealing with something like that. And a couple of guys from the church came to see me. I was an elder in the church at the time, and these were a couple of elders, and they were just loving me. They were just hanging out. And they left, and I remember praying, God, why don't you love me like that? And I'm not a person, I've never heard an audible voice from God, but it was close in this particular situation. He said, that was me. We're called the body of Christ for a reason. Again, everything God does is intentional. Bodies hug people, bodies shake hands, bodies sit with somebody when they're hurting. You lose a loved one and somebody sits there with you and doesn't say anything, but just they're there. That's what bodies do. Bodies are the physical manifestation of our spirits. I mean, what I am, I've got this body. If I'm going to do something for you physically, it's going to be done with this body. And God says we are the physical manifestation of Him on earth. We have the feet and the hands to go and be used of God. And again, Jesus didn't say, new commandment I give you, that you like one another. he set the bar much higher than that. He said, you know, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. So he's saying love is different from liking. Liking doesn't require anything of you. Those boys back there in the back, this boy right here, we can like somebody because they like the same football team we like, or maybe the same video games we like. I mean, you can like somebody with no effort. Oh, they like the same stuff I like. I like them. Love requires something of you. Jesus gave himself up for us. That's the definition of love. And that's what this world is looking for. When that's the best, who knows what the word apologetic means, or apologia? He does back there. But there's a verse in, I want to say it's 1 Peter 3:16, I think it says that, always be ready to give a reason for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and respect. That word reason is apologia. And so when Jesus says, by this the world will know that you're my disciples, by the love you have one for another, I saw miracles happen, but it was love that got me. And in this world today, people are literally dying to be loved. And when they see the real thing, which only comes from God, it draws them in. I mean, we can preach the gospel all day, but people won't hear it until they see the gospel. You know, my dad was in that same room with those people and missed it until he saw it lived out in those guys. And that's what we're called to. And that's when the extraordinary happens. God says, I don't have to have, I could write it in the sky. I mean, I've spoken through a burning bush before. Jesus said, if y'all don't praise me, these rocks will cry. I mean, he could do it however he wants, but his story is woven throughout the centuries, and he's saying, you have a role. Love and obedience. It's amazing. He gets the glory for that, though. But man, what a neat life that we can live when we're participating in that. So that's my story, and I appreciate y'all letting me tell it. And